Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am officially the Cryptic Narwhal, and in today's video we will be doing a recap of episode 2 of the Sons of Appalachia. So before we get into the actual video, I want to give a quick, my thoughts on it. It was definitely interesting, and you'd probably know what the interesting bit is if you've already watched it. It would be the cooking with Bill section. I thought that was super interesting. I wasn't expecting it, and it's something. I know a lot of people are critiquing it, but I'm not going to hate on it too bad. I mean, it gave a comical, portion of the video. It was a bit long, and yeah, I really hope the Cooking with Bill series is its own separate series instead of being integrated into the episodes, because I really like it. It caught me off guard really, really easily, and I just wasn't expecting it. And while I'm doing the intro here, I do want to state that a lot of people in the comments have asked me to do reactions to the episodes and videos, and that's just something I'm not gonna do. I really don't believe in reaction content. I don't want to just rip their videos and then just put my face over it, commenting on what they're doing every 2 seconds. I'd much rather be comfortable doing this form of content where I'm actually editing and adding, actual just extra content onto their content. And yeah, I wouldn't feel right just doing a reaction video. So yeah, sorry to all you who want that kind of content from me, but it's just something I'm not comfortable with. And to end off the intro here, this is your reminder to leave a like if you really enjoyed this video, leave a comment below letting me know how I did with this video, and other information you may think I want to see, and of course subscribe. It's free, and you can unsubscribe at any point, whenever, if you just end up hating my content. Now, let's get right into episode 2 of Sons of Appalachia. So here we are, all the way to episode 2 of the Sons of Appalachia. This episode is called Who Was Behind Buck and came out August 2nd, 2025. This episode once again starts with the intro featuring Jared King and a recap of the first night hunt, showing the claw marks on the tree, Buck breaking off from the group, and then showing something in the weeds, then Buck collapsing. And after this is when episode 2 immediately starts back up. So right after the recap, it starts off with Huckleberry calling out to Buck in the walkie-talkie, asking them if he's alright, and Bill heard the radio back a little bit behind them, so they rush back there and actually find Buck collapsed on the ground. Bill and Huckleberry immediately start asking if he's alright, and Buck seems a little confused, asking if his dad is out there, and they both kind of tell him no, he's not here, but Buck is obviously confused upon hearing his dad talking to him in the middle of the woods, and after a bit of thinking on the ground, Huckleberry helps him out and lets Bill take the lead. While walking through the woods, Huckleberry remembered an old Cherokee legend, Watcher of the Woods, and I will let him tell it here.
It's an old person that watches over the woods, takes care of them, makes sure that nobody's in here doing harm, like cutting timber, killing animals, all.
Poaching, anything like that? Yeah.
Taking care of the land, you only take what you need to survive with. Nowadays, people don't do that. That's what the Watcher of the Woods was originally around here for, was to take care of all these woods and make sure everything was healthy, the environment was healthy for the food for the Native Americans to have.
After walking through the woods, not finding anything for a bit, Bill decides to end the night, head to base camp, get some sleep, and then get a bit of food to energize them for the next night. There's a cut to the next day, where Buck is seen in his truck with the camera person making a call to his father on the phone. The call with his father was pretty interesting. Buck was worried about his father and asked him if he was in the woods with him last night, which his father confirmed that he wasn't, but he did reveal a very weird dream that he had. His dream was that, there was an old woman in the woods with him. I guess it was some form of vision. It was very interesting to hear, because I can't make any connections with that at the moment. Why his father would have a dream of seeing the guys in the forest with an older woman. And this is sort of where the controversy of the episode kicks in. I don't want to spend too long on this, but it is a Cooking with Bill segment. It took about 10 minutes of the episode and had some pretty funny moments that I'll list off, but I don't want to spend too much time talking about this, so I'll point out the funny moments here. So, he explains the food he's making and why he's making it. He revealed it was possum pot roast, and the possum was a big, fat, juicy possum that he found on the side of the road that was killed. It didn't have much flies or maggots, as he explained, and that, he's making a possum pot roast. He recalls his dreams of becoming a culinary chef from his youth, and he drops a few taters on the floor. And if you don't know, taters are potatoes, and he just blows them off and puts them back in the pot roast. It'll cook off all the germs and stuff. While putting pepper on the food, he does sneeze all over the plate, once again stating that, it'll cook right out. And that's pretty much where the cooking segment ends. He's like, I'm going to put it on 500 degrees, and I'm going to put it in there for 45 minutes, and get some chow for the bros. Following the cooking segment, it cuts back to Huckleberry and Buck having a meaningful conversation, saying how Buck doesn't think he can keep hunting anymore, and that he was super stressed that he called his dad. Huckleberry lets him know that they will always be together, they've been up against a lot worse, and that Buck can't quit. Buck says he ain't going to quit, and that he's going to keep going. He says the Tigert Valley is a mecca of monsters, and what's going on in North Carolina is stuff they've never dealt with. Huckleberry then reminds Buck of the hypnotist from Season 4 that helped them move past what all happened in the dark forest. And then Wild Bill enters with his chow call. Bill gives Buck and Huckleberry the possum pot roast that he made in the production cabin. Huckleberry questions what kind of chow it is, and Buck realizes that they are very, very far away from a grocery store and wonders where the meat came from. And that's when Bill let them know that he was driving up the road, going around a curb, and saw the possum on the side of the road laying there. He mentioned to the guys that there were hardly any flies or maggots, but, the guys aren't convinced. Even after seeing Bill take a few bites, they're like, no thanks, and just give their portions on Bill's bowl so he can eat it up. This is when production calls the guys in about something they found from the previous night that, they've missed. And, they once again recall, Buck says, that being called in by production is never really a good thing. But in this case, it sort of is. They have footage that they want the guys to see. Kind of like the last, scene of Mountain Monsters where Colt called them in to show them the Bigfoot and the shack in the woods. That's when either the camera person or one of the producers show, the woman, not a man with a beard, and a cloak right in front of Buck that they somehow didn't see during the night. And Buck, upon seeing this, is very confused at, the person he just saw. Everyone is unsure of what actually happened, and, Buck walks off to, collect his thoughts, and that's when a camera guy, I think it's Jeff Waldridge behind the camera, asks Buck, what he thinks about it, and Buck's he can't really gather his thoughts, and doesn't really want to talk about it, so they just both walk off. And this is where it cuts to the second night. Huck is concerned that it's just an old woman with dementia, assuming that she's just lost out in the woods, which, could very well be, what happened there. It's just an old woman with dementia wandering the woods. It's happened before, a lot of cases of older people with dementia getting, lost in forests and stuff. And, that's when it's night 2 hunt. The guys immediately are walking back through the woods and talking about Bill's possum pot roast. I can't believe you made that for us and expected us to eat it. And the guys end up arriving back where Buck fell the previous night. They look at where Buck fell, where the woman was standing, and Buck is so confused about how he just didn't see it in the moment. They're confused if it's like a hill person or an old woman with dementia again. And that's when Huckleberry tells a tale of the weeping woman. Pretty much her whole family died in a massacre, and it was assumed she was wandering the woods for a long time crying until she eventually passed away. Buck, in an interview afterwards, mentions that he knows the woman wasn't weeping, but watching him, which is weird because he did state just a few seconds ago that, like, he didn't see a woman there, so I don't really know. Maybe it's just sort of like a feeling deep down in him, like you can feel when someone's watching you. Probably something like that. So the guys continued walking when all of a sudden they heard a woman's voice that spun around their heads. I can't really tell too much of what she said, but I can sort of tell somewhat of, what she's saying. She says, "Hush now, child, don't cry, the mountains, something, something, something. Ashes passes by through fire once dead. Find the tree she walks on," something, I couldn't really understand much of it, "and rides the breeze, with her fingers sharp as coal and black." Now that part I don't really understand. It might actually not be sharp. It might be, like, dark. I'll play the clip here so you can hear what she actually says there, because it's a part that you can sort of understand.
I can hear it.
Where's it coming from?
And then to continue on, it's a few more segments I couldn't really hear that picks up back on "and not look back, so hush now, child." And yeah, that's pretty much where it ends. The guys were talking over a lot of it, so I couldn't really understand a lot of the words and couldn't write down most of the words that she says. That was very, like, cut down compared to what she actually says. And yeah, the guys continue on deeper into the forest. The guys once again find 3 more claw marks in a tree and a picture. Buck instantly reveals that the picture they found sits above the mantle at his parents' house, which is very interesting. Like, why is everything connecting back to Buck? Buck hears his father's voice. His father has a dream of a woman out in the woods with a guy, and the original thing that set this off was it was Buck's initials in the tree in the first episode. So this is all connecting towards Buck. If we think back to the poem, where I consider that it is a poem about a curse on someone's family, I say it was either Buck or Trapper, and without a doubt now watching this, I fully believe that poem is about Buck's bloodline. It's something with his family, and I think they are cursed by what will be revealed later is a witch in the woods with them. The guys go deeper in the woods when they find some root magic, as Huckleberry calls it, from a witch. It was roots wrapped up in a string, and, Huckleberry says that if they were to unwrap that, a curse would be caused, so they drop it gently back on the ground and leave it there as to not accidentally unwrap it, releasing whatever curse that may be. And then, the big ending, the guys suddenly see an old woman right in front of them, just standing there, with a staff, long gray hair, and a big black cloak around her. Huckleberry says, "That ain't a weeping woman, that's a witch," disproving my original theory of the cloaked figure being the spirit of the Cherokee Devil. However, it is revealed that she is in fact a witch, which would make so much sense of, all the curses mentioned and just everything happening. Something is happening to Buck, and we'll eventually figure out what it is. But that was the end of the episode, ending on Wild Bill like, "It's a witch?" And then the credits roll, ending episode 2 of The Sons of Appalachia. So right off the bat here, I don't really have any theories on episode 2. There's not a lot to be answered or questioned because it's all laid out for us in a very neat fashion. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, one of my first theories of the cloaked figure being the Cherokee Devil was, in fact, misproven. However, I'm so satisfied now knowing who this cloaked figure is, because I never in a million years would have guessed it was a witch. And as for my poem theory from last video, I am pretty sure that it is now about Buck. Everything keeps pointing to Buck. The initials on the tree, hearing his father having a dream about them, and then finding that photo in the middle of the woods. I think something is going on with Buck that has cursed his family, and I'm sure they're going to go a lot deeper into that in the future episodes. I think they're just going to keep the story going. As for my theory on the Spearfinger and Tigert Valley being intertwined, I still think they're going to play into that a bit. And I hope to see more of that, in the future. They have mentioned that the episodes are going to be a lot longer, so I hope it's not, like 30 minutes more of Cooking with Bill. I really like it. I just hope it's like own section on the side instead of taking up, a lot of time in an episode. But, it's still, I'm having fun with it. I enjoy it, even though there's a lot of people that don't enjoy it. And while I'm ending off the video here, I do want to mention that my next 2 or 3 videos won't be like Sons of Appalachia or Mountain Monsters related, mainly because I think I've covered them pretty well, and there's a lot more I could talk about in Mountain Monsters. However, I want to move on to like other kind of cryptid content, and also I think I've covered pretty much the entirety of Sons of Appalachia now. I'm going to give it some time for, some more episodes to release and stuff, but yeah, I want to move into like cryptid content, doing deep dives into like Mothman or the Chupacabra, or just talk about other shows like Finding Bigfoot and just other cryptid content that I think could do really good in this format. But I am going to end this video off here. I am starting to lose my voice and coughing a lot, so yeah, this will be the end of this video for now. I hope you guys really enjoyed. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. All of it is totally free and helps me out so much. And I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.